Good morning, everyone. We're almost at lunchtime. So thank you for joining us for today's session on digital pioneers. And we'll be discussing how we at Winston-Salem State University are helping our faculty to acclimate to, I'm going to say the name, AI. Okay. So a few of us are here from our team. I'm Jeremiah Shipp.
I'm Michele Leverett.
And I'm Wanda Walker.
And we are from Winston-Salem State University. Scroll up. So to get us started, if you will, you can either scan the QR code or if you will, go to menti.com just to get us started before we jump right into the content that we want to address for today. As we're thinking about our journey in becoming digital pioneers, we first want to assess and evaluate in the room where you are in your digital pioneering journey. And so you'll see once you're able to get Mentimeter up, asking you to select which trait or characteristic really reflects you as a pioneer on your campus when you're trying to launch a new initiative on your campus. So do you consider yourself a visionary, a risk taker, the optimist, the pessimist, problem solver, encourager, or a coach or advocate? All of them. Depends on the initiative, depends on who you're trying to persuade. Okay. So we have a lot of problem solvers. And so we wanted to begin with this activity because when we think about on each of our different campuses and the different contexts in which we're working, the initiative itself will require us to be nimble and agile. And so many times we may have the perception that some people who may be more on the pessimistic side, that we don't need them on the team, but we need all of the different perspectives to help us to reach our destination successfully. And so during today's session, we just have a few things we want to capture and highlight, specifically how generative AI can enhance student engagement. We do want to advocate for the importance of, we got a meeting coming up, advocate for the importance of having some practices and policies across our departments in place that are equitable, responsive, and transparent. And then lastly, how we can develop pathways to support our faculty in using generative AI as a resource and not a replacement. And so to get us started, Dr. White-Walker.
Good morning, afternoon, almost lunchtime. Everybody's stomach is growling probably. So we won't be long, but we do want to take a few moments just to talk about how we came up with this idea, why it's important. And if you were in Dr. Shipp's earlier session, then you heard one part of this journey. So let's just take a minute to talk about the characteristics of pioneers. Each one of you indicated where you fall on project development and what your role is. So let's see if you see yourself in some of these characteristics. So we chose the name Digital Pioneers because of this, because we know it takes several different types of personalities on a rugged journey. If you saw that covered wagon, we feel like that sometimes at WSSU, that we're in a covered wagon, we're entering the unknown and the terrain is rough. But as we go, things get a little better. So the first one is, if you'll scroll down a little bit to the wording, because yeah, the pictures are more just the graphics. The visionary thinking. So if you are a visionary and you're on this pioneer journey, most pioneers who are visionary, they see the end. They might not see the rugged terrain. They may not see the wild animals coming. They may not see the lack of funding. All they see is their vision, and they see the end goal. It's important to have that type of person on your team. The second type is the person who will take the risk. We had a couple. I think we had 2 people said they're risk takers. So the person is not afraid to go talk to administration. The person is not afraid to say, this is what we want to do and why. Those risk takers, and also the person that's willing to take the fallout sometimes. Those are important. The resilience and perseverance. Pioneers, as we know, face so much. And even in 2025, if you're a pioneer, you're going to face resistance. So you need that resilience to keep going. You can't give up, and the perseverance. We also need people who are curious and innovative. The detail-oriented, that's my team here. I can see the end, but everything in the middle is fuzzy. So that's where they come in and fill in the gaps and say, this is how we can do it. This is a creative way that we can do this. The next type of characteristic is the person who is not afraid to be independent. You might be on this journey by yourself for a little while until you get buy-in from faculty, administration. So not afraid to be independent is a characteristic. Adaptability. We always have to pivot. Sometimes things do not go as the original plan. So the ability to adapt, to pivot, to change the course is also needed. And to operate this web page without the, you're used to the arrows, okay. I'm used to scrolling. So there's the adaptability, adapting to different styles. And then the other one is being inspirational, having the ability to listen, to have the influence, but also if you have the pessimists to still listen, because their views are important too, especially with that bad word AI. The other bad word was pandemic, so we have a new bad word, AI. But when you have people who have that contrary point of view, being able to listen and then hear their perspective as well. And then the commitment to your purpose. So once you have the buy-in, once you've put a lot of time in, you know, being committed to seeing it through and getting through the whole process. I think that's the last one. No, resources. So finding resources, money. Anytime you're a pioneer and it's a new project, you probably need money to back it because there is not any existing money. So being able to find the funding to solve the problem or to put it into the project you're trying to fund. So now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Leverett to talk about how and what this digital pioneer journey is for WSSU.
Hello, everyone, again. So one of the reasons why this Pioneer Journey initiative is important is because it prepares students and faculties to thrive in a digital world. And we all know what our role is, right? We prepare students. Students look to us in higher ed to prepare them for the workforce. And we know that they are entering a very digital workforce. And without saying the bad buzzword again, we are preparing them from a workforce that is dependent on I didn't want to say the word. I didn't want to say the alphabet. We're preparing them for AI. So we want to talk about some of the projects that were birthed out of our area. And like our director said, you have to find the money. And she has done a tremendous job finding that money through a foundation called Adobe, who has been gracious enough to grant us money for our project. So the first one is the digital ramps across campus. How many of you were in Dr. Shipp's workshop on DRAC? Well, if you weren't, I'll just give you a brief rundown. So it was a campus-wide initiative to introduce students and faculty to the Adobe digital tools. Is everyone familiar with Adobe tools? How many of you use Adobe tools? Okay, if you don't, they are a boon to whatever you do, to your pedagogy, to your work. As a matter of fact, this was created on Adobe Express. Also, one of the functions was to engage faculty in a professional development opportunities, to incorporate digital teaching tools in the classroom, and apply digital learning techniques to assessments in corporate. So that was one project. The other project, in 2021, Adobe granted us a $1 million grant to support the development of our digital media lab, which we officially and unofficially call our Adobe lab. So what they did was we created this state-of-the-art lab where students, faculty, and staff can use. It features a light board and a production room. There is a podcast room, and there is an area where students can get training on Adobe tools, and faculty can as well. In fact, faculty can even bring their students into the room and hold courses. And so this was introduced in 2021. So what we did this past year was the Digital Pioneers, we began a generative artificial intelligence project. So I'm just going to run down briefly what some of those projects are. First, what's important, these projects were centered around shared governance. So it wasn't just something that our area produced. We wanted buy-in from the faculty community, particularly the ones it was going to impact, which is faculty. So we had faculty that were we had committees that were formed that had faculty. We had faculties that were at the helm of a lot of these projects. These projects focused on faculty, staff, and student, and they provided these different pathways and opportunities to explore AI. And also to support faculty who had different views, and I think we've talked about that before. We have faculty that are AI resistant. I was in the last session. We have faculty that are digital immigrants who might not catch on as quickly to new technology as it develops, and that makes them hesitant. And then we have those faculty that'll grasp it and run with it. But we want to support everyone, right? Because everybody's important. So what we had one project, it was a micro grant for faculty AI innovators. And the purpose of this was to support faculty to redesign courses and integrate these generative AI tools into their teaching, into their learning, into their assessments, and classroom management. And I do apologize. Let me pause for a minute to see if anyone has any questions on any of these projects that we went over thus far. Okay. Our next project was our faculty AI learning community. Does anyone have any AI learning communities on your campus? You do, I see you nodding your head, yes. So you've started one as well?
Yeah, it's called the AI Research and Network Series and the AI Fellows group.
Okay.
Yeah, they work in terms of incorporating AI into the classrooms and also showcasing what they did and what was the impact.
Okay. All right, excellent. And so everybody knows the purpose of learning communities, correct? They give faculty a chance to come together, to collaborate, to build off of ideas, to share ideas. Well, we wanted to do the same thing with these AI learning communities. But they focused on different topics. And so if you would, I would love to click on the AI faculty learning community to show them the different areas that it's focused on. And so faculty, of course, we know incentivizing faculty helps them to get involved, right? So our faculty were paid a stipend. They were given faculty coaches, and then they were given particular topics of study to introduce into their learning communities. And they met twice a month. The first meeting was the integration. The second meeting was for them to work on their deliverables and ask any questions that they may have. So for example, in October, it was all about practical classroom applications. And then this month, it was about student success with generative AI. And so we gave them these prompts, they had the outcomes, and they just ran with it. And so again, faculty met monthly to discuss, to design, they had monthly deliverables, and at the end, the final deliverable assessment will be in person, and that will be December the 5th. And they have to create either an Adobe Express or an AI portfolio, what they've learned in the FLC. We also gave them a pre-survey, and they will get a post-survey so we can compare what the level of growth was as they participated in these learning communities. We also have an AI workshop series. So this series featured different topics. We just had one yesterday on the code of culture in AI, and it was about prompt engineering as well. And so it was a very informative session. Thank you so much. So we started with Dr. Justin Hodgson, who has many amazing accolades. And his topic was From Panic to Power, Why Gen AI Belongs in on every college syllabus. Then we went on to one of our former colleagues, Dr. Dow Scriven, who talked about ethical AI use. What does this mean? And then what we had yesterday was Dr. Shanice Thompson, When Code Meets Culture, teaching responsible AI in the humanities. And so we invite faculty to come to these AI series. We record them. We put them in our repository resources, such as our CITI YouTube channel. And CITI stands for the Center for Innovative and Transformative Instruction. That is our department. So we put them in our newsletter. We put them on our YouTube channel. So we give faculty access to these resources if they can't come and participate in person. And then the AAC&U Institute, and this is an online institute that is designed to help departments, programs, and universities respond effectively to these challenges and opportunities. How many of you are familiar with AAC&U? Okay. All right. So what happened was the Office of our Provost selected a team, which our director, Dr. Wanda White-Walker, was a part of, to a virtual institute that lasted for 2 days. And so they met every week. They talked about, and they're working on a guided plan of action for AI projects. And so this is our team here from the different areas. And what we're planning in March of 26 is a generative AI summit. And
This is your invitation, too.
this is your invitation to it. And if you've been keeping up, I want $1 for every time I've said AI in here. I can retire, okay? So our Generative AI Summit will take place on March the 26th at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And we're using this as a way to promote our interest and engagement with AI at Winston-Salem State. And so this is a regional event. It's going to allow our whole campus community, faculty, staff, researchers, industry leaders, students, vendors, dogs, cats, parents, everybody, to come together in one space to talk about Gen AI.
Not just our faculty, it's open
To everybody.
to present during that time.
Right. If you have a third grader that knows about AI, bring your third grader. We'll use them. And with that, I will turn it back over to.
All right. So we, as Dr. Leverett and Dr. Shipp mentioned, we were intentional about, since November 30th, 2022, that infamous day when all of us got the news about ChatGPT, and we got 100 calls in our office. So since then, we have tried to be intentional about meeting the different levels with these pathways. And our ultimate goal is thinking about our students, because we know in 2020, when before AI, we knew that digital literacy was important for them to have when they graduated. 5 years later, now not only is it just digital literacy, but they need AI literacy, responsibility, ethics, usage, acumen, all of those. So what I want us to do is think about our students for a minute, because 5 years have passed, but 5 more years, according to a study, many of the jobs will be fully automated. I know a random discussion on our campus is always, will I have a job because of AI? Will AI eliminate me? But we have to think intentional about that, because we do see this rapid pace of things that are being automated. I went to Bojangles this morning. Hadn't been to Bojangles in a long time. Lo and behold, the person that comes on the speaker was AI. Who knew? So now we have AI in our fast food restaurants. So I want us to think about how this will affect our students, because this study from National University in 2024 said 30% will be automated and 60% will see a significant task level change due to AI integration. So let's take a moment and go back to Menti. And you can scroll here, or you can scan here again if you don't have it up from the last time. But the question is asking you, what jobs do you think will be affected? I don't think that's the wording, but what jobs do you think cannot be affected by AI? That's it. We always talk about what we think will be. Let's talk about what we think won't be. The mouse might be easier, Jeremiah, if it's crazy. Oh, okay, we gotta go to, yeah, and then, yeah, okay. Are you seeing this question now? Okay. Gotta love technology. I started teaching when it was a whiteboard. Actually, I had a chalkboard. They switched it out to a whiteboard 2 weeks later. But that shows you how far we've come. So what is a job that AI cannot affect? That's a good one. A billionaire, yeah. Which we all can be one if we come up with something AI today, okay? That we can implement and sell. Trades, none. That's interesting. A chef, yeah, I don't want AI cooking my food. It took my order this morning. I didn't want it making my bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Parents, yes. Well, y'all, let me tell you a story now. I see a lot of 1 and 2-year-olds swiping and using technology, and parents are drinking Starbucks. That's another presentation. Deep sea diver, yeah. Okay, y'all came up with some good ones. I tested this on my husband, and he kept saying none of them. I think there'll be nothing affected left, but these are some good ones. Okay, we can go back to our, do you want to discuss, anybody want to share why you picked a particular one?
I would love to hear more about the deep sea dive.
All of them can be affected by it. Yeah, the term is affected. You probably look up some stuff, but in terms of technical skills and using AI, I wouldn't fall down there.
Okay. Anybody else want to share?
I went with a hands-on activity. I submitted chef, and what I meant was the actual, but I mean, once I start thinking about it,
A robot might
I
can do it?
should, yeah, exactly. I mean, we automate food production.
Searching for recipes, if I wanted to have a certain protein content or to use whatever in my 30-second search, even chefing. Like the deep sea diver, I'm sure the company that contracts them probably would use it to technically effective for efficiency.
Okay, good points. Thank you. Anybody else? I don't want to cut anybody off. Okay. Which was? Oh, yeah. That's a good point, too. Okay. All right. Thank you. We had our presentation yesterday from Dr. Shanice Thompson, and I like one of her statements. She said that humans do not need AI, but AI will always need humans. And she said humanities, but we know that humanities are from a human perspective. So I think thinking about affect and replace are two different. How we let it affect us is going to be key. Okay. I know it's a bunch of presentations still up. Okay. So this is the end of our presentation, but we did want to have time to hear any comments from you, ask any questions. Our information is listed here if you want to learn more about any of the projects. I will add, the $1 million was for the lab. We got subsequent $1 million for 4 more years. So I know if you were a mathematician saying, oh, $1 million can't go but so much. We got up to, I think it's 5,000 we're at now. So the grant was renewed several times because the Adobe Foundation was very impressed with how our institution was using the funds and how it was reciprocated back into students. So we did get to renew it up to this past year, where we got our 5th, probably our last $1 million. So
That's $5 million.
yeah. So it was not just 1 million that did all of this. It's 1 million each year since 2021. Yes.
So very impressive in terms of the initiative. In terms of like grant renewal and everything, how did you like evaluate the projects to showcase impact for continuous funding?
So every year, each area, whether it was a lab or different campus projects on different departments on campus, they had to submit a pre and a post for whatever their project was, because if you don't have data, it doesn't exist, in my opinion. So we did track it very carefully to have not only quantitative but qualitative data for them. They were especially interested in the qualitative. They liked the videos, they liked the testimonials, but our institution wanted the quantitative, so we did both. And we reported out quarterly to the foundation. Other questions?
Coming from an HBCU, how has AI either leveled the field for students and faculty of color, or perhaps revealed greater
Don't give to one of y'all to answer this. I just don't want to take the mic the whole time.
Could you repeat the latter part of your question? I heard the beginning.
Yeah, I asked, how has AI either leveled the playing field for students and faculty of color, or revealed greater divides?
In terms of, what were you gonna say? Oh, okay. In terms of leveling, for those who have already been more growth mindset oriented, it really has revealed just how, depending upon the use or the selection of whatever AI tool that the faculty member has selected, has assisted with efficiency and different ways of engaging with their students. For those who are already averse or AI resistant or technology challenged, whatever word we want to use, it's already revealed that more so specifically during the pandemic time, that for some people, unfortunately, this has been their exit to say, it's time for me to retire, it's too much going on, I'm done, as a result of AI. For others, they're still kind of on the fence of, how do I use this? Is it gonna replace me? How is it beneficial? And so it just really depends on the faculty member. Some are more open, some are in the middle, and for others, it has become the awareness that it's time for me to vacate the premises.
For your students, though, who might be first generation, coming from different backgrounds, they don't know what their mindset is, whether they're visionary, pioneering, et cetera. How has AI maybe helped them with their college education, or again, left them behind?
I don't have a definitive on that yet, but we do have a survey that we've sent out to all of our faculty and students, and so we're still collecting some data so that we will have a baseline of where we are institutionally, and then to help guide where we need to go next.
When the onset of AI first came out, the students were the ones that brought it into the classroom, and that's when we started getting the calls. But since we're faculty development and we have that layer of faculty between us, we have found that these initiatives are helping to close that divide, if there is one. Now, we knew there was a digital divide on our campus, but we have not measured the AI divide yet. But we're still early. We're still in that pioneer stage. But the survey went out for faculty, and then there's a student survey going out with the AAC and U group team that has the action plan.
I just wanted to say that I read a very interesting article a couple of months ago where it talked about how students were on board with AI before it became trending in higher ed. So students always catch on to the technologies before as digital immigrants than we do. Digital natives than we do as digital immigrants. So in terms of HBCU, and this came from a conference that I went to back in the summer, HBCUs have got to be very aggressive about jumping on board with AI to prepare our students. Also in terms of the digital divide that Dr. White-Walker spoke about, to make sure that we are adequately preparing our students, regardless of our feelings toward AI replacing us. Sometimes, we have to put those things to the side and focus on the task of preparing our students for what's ahead.
Can I offer a theory, something I've been thinking about, particularly because I'm also an African-American Black Studies scholar, and your list of things that AI can't replace, I think actually about Black cultures in that way, because especially when you think about popular cultures, things change so fast, language and so on. I feel like AI is behind
she brought up a good point about cultural. All of us have that's where responsible AI comes in. All of us have a responsibility to culturally direct AI to get we can't produce data that we don't put in. So culturally, we have the responsibility to make sure that the hallucinations, the biases are not out there. And in terms of your question, your statement, that's a possibility because all cultures change rapidly, things change rapidly, the environment. She talked about the impact of AI on the environment, which I've heard 2 discussions on that I never thought about. All of our light bills are going up, is what she said. It's because of AI, to run these plants and the data centers. So I think that's a good point. Might be a good study, too.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, though. I do wonder if we do want to feed it everything, or if we want to hold some things back, and how we make those decisions and think that
Oh, I just had a question. I'll hand it right back to you. I was just curious, you've got a lot of great initiatives that you developed here. What's next? What's coming up in the future? What are you looking forward to?
More staffing.
More staffing?
It's killing us, really.
Yeah.
I don't want it back. Everybody wants to go to lunch. I'm not-
Okay, yeah. We're not
So
gonna.
any other questions? Thank y'all for feedback.
If students are using AI, but there's a prediction that in the not very distant future, jobs will be probably compromised in some way, and it looks like it's going to be particularly white-collar jobs. How do you set students up for success with that kind of forecast?
That's a good question. How do we? Do we introduce it to make it more rampant? Do we introduce it with parameters? That's a great question. I don't know the answer. But that's a great point because if we think about it, how will education look?
Right.
Will we have, I'm not saying it's going to replace us, but how will a college classroom look? And I'll be retired, no more porch.
At NC State, we're starting to talk about making the AI our database for all of our back files. But if we do that, and then we communicate with it to do our jobs, we are essentially giving them the keys to our jobs, our departments, et cetera. And you mentioned that we have to be enthusiastic, even if we have reservations, because we're working for the students. But I'm not sure that is actually how it's going to go. And I think all of us have reservations, but we're cheerleading anyway because it feels like that's what we're supposed to be doing.
That's a good point.
But
I've watched Megan 1 and 2, so I have a lot of reservations.
Right.
But in
There are others.
2030, we might be saying, oh shoot, we were on the wrong track that whole time. We should have listened to our instincts.
That's a great point.
I ask AI related questions to students at NC State, and they're enthusiastic about it too. They don't have many reservations, and when they have training from an instructor, they have even less reservations. They're like, I'm more enthusiastic. This is far more capable than I had previously thought. But then you ask a question like, are you concerned about having transferable skills for the workplace? And they say, actually I am. So,
Just an anecdotal thing to add to that. I've talked to former computer science majors who switched majors because they're hearing from recent grads saying it's hard to find entry-level jobs because AI is doing all the entry-level work. They've gone into data analytics or business or something else, but then so we've got comp sci students really worried about the market, the job market just in a year.
Thank you guys again. Can we pick up the conversation? We're heading to lunch. Please bring your lunch vouchers. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.